Hey guys, welcome to another session of Epic 7. This is going to be an RTA showcase for Kayron. I'm going to do the series, been doing a lot of World Arena, and sometimes the fights really highlight the character and what makes them really strong in a fight. So for this one, we're going to do Kayron, and because he's not really a meta hero, but can be a pretty lethal pick, there's not going to be that many fights for this video, but the build will come at the end, so hopefully you guys enjoy the fight. Alright, so first fight here, showcasing I'm in champ currently, at least in the video here, fighting Emperor. It looks like it was a ex-legend player, at least in Japan server. He does have the legend frame. I'm pre-banning AOL on Hua Yang. At this point, I didn't have AOL yet. I do have her now. I swap around my pre-bans quite a bit. Now I do Ran and sometimes don't pre-ban Hua Yang. I chose Kayron. He banned Sea Lilius and Rimuru.
This is only a temporary alliance.
FCC is a very good neutral pick. Amelia as well. Those two are good pairings once you don't have Sea Lilius or something. I'm choosing Pillis here. I use Pillis a lot now. I am planning on a dedicated video for Pillis and Pillis build. So another RTA showcase video. I'm planning to do a series of these top few heroes I've been using, and I think I have enough footage to be able to showcase them. So a Pillis showcase in the future, coming soon. The Landy pick here is okay because of Kayron's buffs, and he's got meleeed turn cycle. The Strays is that's just supposed to be a threat here. My Opsig is decently fast, and Kayron's faster, so if right now I'm just looking at banning the Amelia. And the Kayron was to pick against the Landy. So I think I cornered him, at least for his Strays pick there. Yeah, the A-Robbie wasn't a big threat. A-Robbie, it's hard for A-Robbie to go through a Knight, Ruel, Kayron herself. But again, this leaves him open for 3 DPS, but I took my chances with Opsig being the ban. If he had a fast Landy, I think I would have been in trouble though. Because my Opsig would have been revealed and you got killed, my only DPS would be dead, but it was kind of like a gamble for him as well.
It is my job.
So I was considering two moves there. One was just to do the attack down on Strays, but I took this risk that I had Ruel anyway, so Ruel could revive Kayron, being my highest HP hero here.
Fortune will favor us.
But he didn't kill, so the attack buff on Kayron was enough to keep him from keep Strays from having 100% defense pen,
Leave it to me.
and therefore having to go through a defense check. And my Ruel is triple S on imprint release, so it's 10% defense on everyone. My Kayron would have about 1800 defense or something, and then Aureus, so Stray's gonna do much without attack buff. The S2 was held because I knew that Strays would go in invincibility. That was a risk I was willing to take.
I'll deal with this.
I will say this though, that Landy is very unlucky, didn't proc Guiding Light. I think this is his big lose condition here. But sometimes RNG is this way. It's not 100% artifact after all. And then this Kayron, the S2 is just so good that I have him on effectiveness build. I used to have him on ER build, but effectiveness build is just so much better for me. I just like the fact that I have higher opportunity to strip.
To despair. Return to the void.
I'm sure Fortune will be on our side today as well.
He has attack down, so it doesn't guarantee, unless he has higher attack than some heroes, he doesn't guarantee a strip. But he did strip my Kayron because Kayron has 0 resist.
To the land steeped in death.
I'm sensing corrupt energy.
Step back.
Proof of Valor A Ravi. I personally think Proof of Valor A Ravi is really weak in this meta. I myself am a Crimson Seed user now. I never used it before. I used to be Draco plate, but she really needs to, like, there's too many knights that provoke. She really needs to be able to cleanse.
Fortune will favor us.
So here I'm like, okay, Robbie is provoked anyway. I can hold the S3. I don't need to revive anyone.
I'm here for you. Don't put all your faith in me.
So my Kayron is on Shepherd of the Hollow. So Kayron's artifact, with him being able to inflict blind, it is a really good artifact for him, especially into bruiser fights.
Away with you.
If you're scared, run.
You cannot change what is already decided.
I'm sure
The attack down is necessary there.
as well.
Anyways, so right here I'm seeing like, okay, now I have to protect him no matter what, right? So A Robbie, even with attack down, with an S3 rip, he's gonna kill the Kayron, he's gonna revive. If he revives Landy, I lost. So holding that invincibility turn was important.
Temporary alliance.
I never fight a losing battle.
Fortune will favor us.
Yeah, and there's no way that Robbie's killing anyone.
Your life ends here.
There is no salvation.
But she is getting closer to the kill. So the blind chance is really good. Again, the Crimson Sea would have mitigated some of that, potentially.
I'm sure Fortune will be on our side today as well.
And now it's a risk, right? So we got attack down, but we got a barrier on the Kayron, and I'm on Shepherd, and he has blind. So this was like, you know, there's a really high chance that I would survive this one.
The doors to hell.
I'm sensing corrupt.
And then here we go, like, yeah, he knew it. He knew it was over. Because the turn cycle on Emma is too good too. This is the next fight. So this is a shorter Kayron video because, like I said, he's not a meta draft. You won't see him a lot. But in the right conditions, he's insanely good.
I never fight a losing battle.
So this time, someone else takes the Emma if Sea Lilies is open, you always take Sea Lilies anyway. If they choose Emma in my opinion. And perhaps like FCC if that's what I'm taking. Yeah. I didn't rehearse this. I usually commentate while watching, but I know how I think, so
Step back.
yeah. So A Robbie pick for him was really weak here. A Robbie into FCC is just not a good thing. It takes her too many turns. The Solitary was interesting for me to see.
Are you sure you can handle this?
So Lionheart Sirmia and versus Solitaria is theoretically a good like counter, except Solitaria can be very tricky. It depends on when they do the like have you proc the passive on Lionheart Sirmia, she can actually have you stun locked. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but because it's every 2 turns. So if Solitary starts proccing you and stunning you, she can do it technically. You won't cleanse it off. If let's say A Robbie countered, you got the passive first and then Solitary went or something like that. You'll lose the passive every time if you get stunned. So Rimuru is pretty good here, because I have Amelia, I have a lot of buffers. Ruel would have been safer, but I didn't know he would choose Rimuru there. So Kayron came to mind. Rimuru could have stole the immortality here, so he was definitely not worth the risk. But I felt like Solitaria, I had both Amelia being sort of a counter to it, and Sirmia. And he banned the mitigation. Makes sense. But this team is extremely aggro because I have both Sea Lilius and Amelia. So the knight was actually kind of useless for me. I think he could have banned another DPS because he has technically two full sources of high damage and someone who could crowd control. But all of this is usually easier, like, to think about, like, after you had the fight, you know? Like, during the fight, like, we all make mistakes, or during the ban phase. So, I was actually kind of surprised that the Kayron didn't kill the Spectenny with attack buff and vigor buff. You guys will know why when I show the stats at the end. I'm actually surprised that Spectenny is tanky, like, as heck. I am on the S3 EE though. So the stun or the stun there on the Kayron wouldn't have mattered, to be honest. So he didn't get the stun, but he got the speed down. It wouldn't have mattered because Amelia would cleanse it.
Come on, I'll take you all down. Don't come near me.
So I believe there's a misplay here. I'm gonna say that right now. Like the very fact that he didn't soul burn was a huge mistake. I don't know what he was holding the souls for. He really had nothing to soul burn. But I think that was his issue there. If he soul burned, I think I may have lost because Kayron would be working against the clock. I'd have to kill 3 DPS within 1 immortality and no Ruel to protect this time compared to the first fight. So it did that on Kayron. It doesn't matter. Kayron is slow enough that my melee would catch up, assuming my melee didn't get stunned, which she got debuffed, right? So he shouldn't have saved the souls. Now he has 30 souls, and he can't use it on anything, right? Like if he soul burned into A Robbie, like what is she gonna do? So yeah, it's over. Alright, so this is the last fight featuring Kayron, at least for this video. So Q into a legend player, and Kayron is a perfect hero for this one. I'll commentate on the draft. So a Leica first pick, and I'm like, whoa, okay, that's pretty cool. So all I remember from Leica is that she can do a dual attack while doing bring a dual attack with attack buffing on the turn of the dual attacker. So here I'm just like, okay, is this a cleave? But it's probably like just some like speedy DPS. So if you guys watch my videos, I had a Vinny sell me using Camilla, and Camilla with an attack buff can do a dual attack on the S1, and that kind of comp is really good with like 2 very high damage DPS. So I was kind of, because of Vinny's training, I was kind of like ahead of the game on this one. So I went with ML Cowrick because it's a decent neutral pick. He went with A Robbie, which was good. It made my ML Cowrick a lot better in value, and then the Pillis for the damage mitigation. Because I also didn't want FCC, thinking that he might go op sig. Ruel is still very neutral here, and I usually like pairing Lionheart with Ruel, so that if he somehow one-shots, let's say with a Rimuru or something that can one-shot on turn 1, I still have a second opportunity to survive. So it's either he gets rid of herself, Lionheart that is, Ruel, or the mitigation. So he picks RB here, and I was very confused, right? But at this point, I was already thinking about Kayron, especially when he chose the RB, because if I chose Kayron, I'd be ahead of the draft. So there wouldn't be anything he could do. I didn't remember if Leica stripped. Maybe she does, but I didn't think she did. So Kisei, it made sense. So while he picked Leica, it reminded me of Vinny's Camilla draft. I'm like, okay, so he has 2 big shot DPS, right? So I was thinking that, okay, you know, RB's not a big deal, because he most likely can't kill Lionheart, and Lionheart can finish him before he gets the second turn, and then he can't kill Kayron, right? That's what I think, right? So banning Kisei is the right play here. So I was thinking, okay, no worries. So on paper, I think I was ahead of the draft, but I'll show you guys what happens in game. If you guys run into this legend player and he picks Leica against you, just be careful of this because I think he does this a lot. One of my guildmates confirmed. It's one of his like standard drafts. So he takes out the damage mitigation. Thankfully my ML Kayron is pretty fast. It beat the Amelia surprisingly. So that Amelia probably has really high ER. But I saw the RB at base speed. I thought it was a counter RB, and I was like, uh oh, that's not good. So check this out. Look at that damage from that RB. I was actually shocked. It legit almost killed my Ruel. My Ruel has 1900 defense, almost 2000. So that was very insane. It did have Song of Stars, I believe. I think that's how it procced there. And it almost one-shot me. So that was a pretty cool setup. I think if he had aimed for my Lionheart, I would have died. So my Lionheart has like just slightly more defense than my Ruel, but it has much more lower HP. So EHP wise, it wouldn't have been as good. But his RB turns out 10,000 HP. It most likely is an attack set, attack boot RB with Symbol of Unity and guaranteed attack buff. That's why I think the Leica and Amelia pick. So you can tell that he has like a system. If Kisei was let through, I think it would be more brutal because Kisei is really, really strong once she goes into stealth. So realistically, the Kayron pick here isn't like a feature, but I wanted to feature this because I wanted to also show Kayron's actual damage, his power. So I think in the next move, what he does is that I think he misplays. I was really worried that he would just kill my Ruel or my ML Kayron. He would have been able to if he didn't go for the full HP Lionheart. And if you revise RB, RB can probably kill my bruisers and I'd lose the and I have no skill null. Like he has a skill null, right? So Kayron can't survive really. But anyways, that's that. So you saw that power there. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that short and sweet RTA session with Kayron, of course. In my previous videos, I had Kayron in there and, you know, players asked, hey, can I see the build or can you show me the stats? So I wanted to make this dedicated to Kayron. As you can see that he was usable, but he definitely has to be picked very, very carefully. Definitely a last pick scenario, especially when you're ahead of the draft. If you pick him too early, then, you know, the old counters, like, you know, anyone really with a strip he'll have issue with. So Peyra ran the old Cerise F10 meta. That's why he was out. But now we have so many heroes. All of them are quite viable. So for this video, definitely a shorter one. For the future videos I plan to share, there are going to be a lot more fights. Before we get into the build, I want to give a big shout out to my Patreon supporters supporting me monthly on Patreon. Azura, Deekboy, Kariha, RG Fua, Stone Thunder, Torenbeat, Potatoes, Silly, and our newest member, Jay Zito. If you're watching this video and you appreciate my content and you want to support me on Patreon, the link is in the description box below. But other than that, let's get into the build. Because Kayron is an old character, a lot of features on him. There was a while that he was on counter set. Best in slot would be like counter set Kayron. And then how the meta's changed, now high damage Kayron seems to be the way to go because gear, like people who realize it's counter Kayron will just avoid hitting him anyway. But the amount of gear and the gear knowledge that players have now, a lot of players are building very bulky, so he definitely needs a lot of power. So as you can see, mine is triple S. If you know me, or you know me from a long time ago, my Kayron was one of my first triple S heroes, and I won't explain that, but yeah, he is triple S. So the 18% attack is very nice on the self imprint there. The S2 is skill enhanced because his S3 and S1 was maxed, and then Smilegate in one of the quality of life changes implemented the +10 friendship will give you 3 skill enhancement, and so that's why I put it into this. So if you have Kayron and you're new and you want to build him, don't mola this. This is not really great because it's basically resetting after, you know, every 6 turns, which is impossible because he's usually dead by then. There's no way you could keep him alive for that long. So these are the stats. I quickly show the gear and the concept behind it. Again, I think Shepherd of the Hollow, which is his own artifact, is going to be the best in slot in this. As you saw in one of the fights, blinding my opponents prevented him from getting into the immortal, and even prevented a Ravi from one-shotting him. So it's definitely the way to go. If you have, I don't know if it's worth sacrificing stats into effect resist, at least the way I'm picking him. So I wouldn't chase that. Effect resist build on DPS now is kind of a thing, especially when they're kind of slow and they don't get the first turn. They're just sitting back, they don't want to get stripped or whatever. But I personally just think immunity is good enough, especially if you get the damage. So that's what I would recommend. And like I said, Shepherd of the Hollow is really good because he does inflict blind, just like RB's S3, but he does it on the S1. And when he's buffed, he does AoE, and so increasing that evasion by 20 gives them a 30% chance to hit you, which, you know, hopefully it doesn't hit you, and it could be a game-changing thing. And of course, he does function well with his HP low. He already naturally has a damage passive, so this one is like pretty much best in slot for him for the damage aspect, for the evasion aspect, because he can inflict blind. So very, very good for his chemistry. For the EE, this is a max one. He does get 12 crit chance, which is good. For high DPS build, this is perfect for him. My only like struggle would be like, do I want the increased damage dealt on Apocalypse, which is the S3, so I could guarantee a more of an extend debuff, or the S1 EE, which is I think it's 10%, but for the S1, so your AoE becomes stronger versus your S3. I haven't experimented with the S1, but I feel that it doesn't really matter. It just depends on what do you think your Kayron will use more. I personally feel that because he's not going to survive long enough to really do the S1 multiple times. Even if you do it like healing and Ruel and provoking your enemies away, I'm not quite sure. But the S3 feels like it's really beneficial for extending his buffs if you get the kill. So that's my rationale for it, but I personally think that it doesn't matter which one you get. Anyways, so that's it for this video. It was a short one, like I said. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you are interested in this series that I plan on, I already have the footage. Plan on pumping out these hero feature spotlights in World Arena. Definitely consider subscribing. But otherwise, I'm gonna end the video here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter, and like I said, subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.